feeling disrespected at something I built.
Yeah.
With my friends and with us that we built, feeling disrespected there, I wouldn't stand for it. It was one of those where it was, it. I did way more here than you think, and you're gonna find out the moment I'm out the door.
Cody Rhodes is a name that will forever be synonymous with All Elite Wrestling. As long as the company continues to grow, as long as the company continues to be on TV, we will never be able to separate its legacy from that of the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, who alongside Matt, Nick Jackson, and Kenny Omega was an original founding father of the company. However, ever since he left AEW back in the beginning of 2022, the one question on everyone's mind has been, why? Why would Cody Rhodes, someone who left WWE by choice to take a chance on himself and start the professional wrestling revolution that led to the establishment of a competitor to WWE, not only go back to WWE, but do so of his own accord? What was it that led him to leave AEW? What was so bad that Cody could no longer stay in the house that he created? We may have just gotten the answer to this and pieced together the almighty question, why Cody Rhodes left AEW. We're going to talk about it right here in this video, so be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Let's dive right in. In January of 2022, rumors began to swirl about the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes and his status with AEW. It was reported originally by FightfulSelect.com that Cody Rhodes was indeed a free agent despite being the TNT champion at the time. And Cody was essentially working with AEW on a per appearance deal due to the fact that his contract had expired. And it was around the same time that we had heard rumblings and reports that Cody was indeed looking at offers from WWE, a company that he willingly left in 2016 after he felt like they were not honoring his nor his father's legacy in the way that he wanted. And Cody was looking for a chance to grow. He found that chance on the Indies. He found that chance in New Japan. He found that chance in ROH. And it led him to help kickstart the professional wrestling revolution that led to All Elite Wrestling. But then, in the beginning of 2022, everything seemed to go wrong. Things went silent. And then Cody, in a segment backstage in AEW, actually confirmed the fact that he was on a per appearance deal. Something that no one could have ever foreseen. And as crazy as that was, things got even crazier when reports started swirling about Cody Rhodes joining WWE, the place that he left, the place that he promised that he wouldn't go back to. And yet, it happened. Cody returned to WWE at WrestleMania 38, one of the biggest and greatest moments in the history of the company. And then, just a couple of years later, main evented WrestleMania, winning the WWE Championship, and establishing himself as the face of the company. We know that in the past, Cody has given hints about why he left AEW. Originally, when he left AEW, it seemed to be an amicable separation. Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes both sent out a press release and a statement that was weird because it felt like it was very manufactured and did not explain the real reason. First, you have to ask yourself, why would Tony Khan want not only one of his biggest stars, but a founding and key figure of the company to leave? Because the fact of the matter is that when Cody left, the perception of both AEW and WWE changed. For the longest time, ever since AEW was established, AEW felt more and more like the place to be. And Cody's leaving was a turning point in that sentiment. WWE was about to be under new management, and suddenly they got a big boom. They got the addition of Cody Rhodes and many names that would follow, and in the coming months, they would even get a new chief content officer in Triple H who completely changed the way everyone felt about the company. And that has in large part led to a rise in popularity for WWE. And meanwhile, AEW had dealt with several big-time challenges, such as the falling out between AEW and CM Punk, many other free agent talent leaving, and rumors and innuendo of backstage politicking and fights, calling into question many of the decisions that Tony Khan was making as the manager and head of the company. And right as Cody made his debut, he did a round of media interviews. There was a big, infamous Steve Austin Show podcast that he did, and this was the first real big hint that we got about Cody Rhodes and why he may have left AEW. He began to answer the question by saying that AEW was his baby and it didn't need him anymore, and then quickly interrupted himself and said, well, that's not exactly true, to which Stone Cold pretty much agreed. And yeah, that is not the truth. That is true on its face. Cody Rhodes was as integral to AEW as anyone. You cannot dispute that. It is fact. If Cody Rhodes was not there, then I don't think, even with Tony Khan, even with Nick Jackson, even with Kenny Omega, that AEW becomes what it does. The key to AEW was not just the backing of Tony Khan financially. It wasn't just one or two big stars. It was the combination of those four guys with the resources of Tony Khan together. Without that, AEW as it currently is would never exist. It is one of the true embodiments of perfect time, perfect people, perfect place. But things weren't so perfect after all, as Cody Rhodes dropped another hint in his A&E documentary where he spoke briefly about his run in AEW and why it came to an end, saying, quote, a personal issue is the reason why things didn't work out in AEW and why he ended up leaving. He did not expand past that. He did not say anything else, but we heard this come up in later interviews. We heard this come up in later reports that it was a personal issue. It was a personal reason. And for a long time, we had not heard anything from Cody. It has been speculated before that Tony Khan was the guy that Cody had this disagreement with, and that was the dispute that led him to leave the company. But we never really heard from Cody what or how that all came to be until this week, where he did an interview with The Ringer. And in this interview, Cody said this.
Clearly bad blood, but there's also clearly respect and love. And in the end, the way I kind of see it is, if I felt disrespected ever at WWE, that's one thing. That's a company that was built, look at this glass, that's the Yankees. That's the flagship of it all. If I ever felt there, I was a number on a sheet maybe, but feeling disrespected at something I built.
Yeah.
With my friends and that we built, feeling disrespected there, I wouldn't stand for it. And I think Brandy and I both, I'm so blessed to have her. It was one of those where it was, it. I did way more here than you think. And you're going to find out the moment I'm out the door. I don't believe in like the cold-hearted, backstabby type of revenge. The greatest revenge on earth is success. And I felt like we were sitting on something wonderful, something great, a huge, potentially with what I was doing with the American Nightmare, as a bad guy, as a good guy, as something in between. We're sitting on something magic. And if I'm not going to do it in the house that I literally, with Matt, Nick, and Kenny built, then buddy, I'm going out.
This is by far the most eye-opening insight that Cody has ever provided about why he left AEW. Whether he was a good guy, whether he's a bad guy, whether he's in between, is clearly calling out the perception of him and the booking of him in AEW. For the vast majority of Cody's final 2 years in AEW, he was not really booked as an integral character to the show. Yes, he was still winning TNT titles. Yes, he was still a prominent figure in the company, but he wasn't really featured as a big star. Now, you can say a lot of that stems to the idea that Cody gave up the opportunity to ever challenge for the AEW World Championship, and I think that definitely played a part into it. But there are ways to book yourself out of that, and honestly, there are ways to make Cody Rhodes the character more interesting, as is the case in WWE. However, AEW, for his final 2 years, did not do that. And it seems to come down to this. Cody Rhodes did not seem to be valued in AEW. That is clear. And whether it was booking, whether it was some personal disrespect or everything in between, which seems to be the case from Cody's comments, you can tell there that Cody Rhodes had a chip on his shoulder to prove everyone or anyone who he felt slighted from in AEW wrong. And the fact of the matter is, it is undeniable that he has proven that person, potentially Tony Khan, completely wrong. Cody is one of, if not the biggest stars in professional wrestling today. He has been responsible for some of WWE's biggest moments over the past couple of years and is single-handedly responsible for turning the tide away from AEW and momentum towards WWE in this boom period that they are having. And it is so insane to think about how this is all transpired. Because originally when Cody Rhodes left WWE and we heard the rumblings of AEW, it was unfathomable that he would ever return to WWE. He was going to be an AEW lifer. He spoke in those terms. And just 3 short years later, he's gone. And it seemed like it all could have been avoided. Cody was not speaking in terms of someone who had made up his mind about leaving and that he felt like he was going to do bigger and better things in WWE from the get-go. This seems like a decision that he came to out of necessity. He did not feel valued in AEW. And the only person this can be pointing to is Tony. In my view, in my personal view. I don't think it's Matt. I don't think it's Nick. I don't think it's Kenny at all, because he has spoken in high terms of all of those guys. And at the end of the day, there's only one other person that this can be pointing towards. And I think it's the same person that Cody released that joint press release a couple of years ago with. I think it's the same person that Cody has hinted towards having a personal issue with. I think it's the same person who at the end of the day made all of the booking decisions that seem to drive Cody away. It is Tony Khan. That's my take. That's my view from everything we've seen and piecing this together. It does look like Tony might have been the culprit. And if it is true, genuinely might be a conversation that needs to be had about whether or not this is Tony's biggest fumble ever, and conversation's over. It is. Anyway, guys, I want to hear from you, though. What did you guys think about this new interview? What did you guys think about all of the pieces we put together here? Does it make sense? Does it not? Do you care at this point about Cody leaving AEW, or do you just want to move on from all of it? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.